Hi guys, got a 10-minute training game on the board against Steve, Uriah's Honor, who's in the US, so it's going to be later on in the day for him. So right now I'm normally playing the Danish, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do a Vienna. Let's do a normal kind of opening. So Steve, I think, is rated 677 here, and we've got right normal King's Pawn opening. Okay, so what should we do? Let us play a Scotch, because haven't played that in an awful long time. So I apologise for the break, guys. I was away at a festival all weekend, which was just awesome, and I feel like that kind of empty space feeling. So it wasn't a big event. We had a few hundred, maybe 500, 600 people there, but we're just in the middle of a heat wave, man, and the sun was just baking down. Okay, so like I'm in a position here where I don't know my theory, so we just go by first principles. Okay, we've got a knight out here. You'll also notice I've gone back to green, away from the wood effect. This knight is attacking this pawn. However, if the knight should take the pawn, I've got queen there, hits the knight, knight retreats, but then this knight is defending this pawn. Now what if I do this and up the ante, right? So I'm not only hitting my opponent, so he's attacking a pawn, but I'm increasing the danger levels by attacking a piece of higher value. So if he takes my pawn, I take his knight, it's not good. So I don't know if this is a book move. I guess it probably is, but that's not to say all book moves are correct or ideal. So I've not chessed for a few days. I came back. What day was it? It's hard to. Oh, yeah. I came back just for a shower on Sunday and had like a couple of blitz games, but other than that, not done anything. So he's taken the pawn, right? He's taken the pawn and giving up his knight. Now if I take that knight, what's he got? Is he going to come in with like a bishop attack here? But then I can block. I think I have to take, right? Have to take. What are you doing? What are you doing? Monkey? Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on up. Right, so yeah. So the bishop's come out. This is Zara. She's naughty, aren't you, babe? Anyway, so he's got two attackers on here, but like I said, I knew that I can block here, which defuses the assault, I believe. But I also have this. Then if queen takes and we trade queens, say, is my queen an important defender of that? My queen could go there. But should I take the pawn first? Because it comes with check. The point is, if it comes with check, then he can't take that. And I still have this as an option. So I'm going to take the pawn rather than let him take me. Right, so right now I'm currently up a full piece. I don't know if there's some kind of trap that he knows about that I don't, but interesting stuff. So the Scotch is a very interesting opening. Okay, so he's recaptured with the bishop, which is principled. So he's recaptured with a minor piece, which then develops the minor piece. So after 6 moves, he has actually perfect in like speed of development, because all he needs to do is develop his queen to one of these squares and then castle one way or the other, and he's completed development in 8 moves, which is great. Now, I actually have a hanging pawn here, but I do have the risk of this. So I think now it's probably time to do this. What else can defend that pawn? Well, my queen could. So if I play queen e2, it defends the pawn, but then he can take anyway. So I think it is bishop e3 is the move. Notice that this pawn hangs. So what you need to be doing all the time is just reminding yourself of the fact about what's on the board, what's going on. had a banging headache on Friday night through to Saturday morning, right? Because I went up Thursday, so really the festival was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of people went home Sunday, and I didn't cane it at all in the festival because we were selling food. We had a meat stall, so we were doing burgers, homemade sausages, kind of sausage meat patties as well. And these things called monk balls, which are like molten cheese wrapped in sausage meat, wrapped in bacon, coated in barbecue sauce, and then cooked on the barbecue. They were popular. So yeah, it was really, really good. Just like a private festival, wasn't open to the public, wasn't a commercial deal. Okay, now I'm up a minor piece, so my first thought is trade-off. And if he recaptures with this bishop, then he's going to have isolated pawns and doubled isolated pawns. He can recapture with a knight, actually. That's a better move for him. But either way, now he should have recaptured with the knight there, right? Because he had a decent pawn structure and a light squared bishop, which could have moved around these pawns, yeah? So yeah, knight takes would have been better there. Now I believe I have queen e2. Hitting the knight. Now I am, it has to be said, behind. I'm behind in development, but I'm up in material. But this is kind of forcing how he could defend with the bishop. You should always ask yourself, if I do this, what is my opponent's best response? Right, you need to be putting as much work into figuring out their best response as you do into figuring out your own move, right? Because what's the point of doing a move that you think looks good if your opponent can just, counter you with a block and a punch to the jaw? So I have this. And I have this. That appears to be a free pawn. I like this as well, but it does block in the bish. I could just develop the bish and get castled. Probably very wise. Another idea could be, for example, knight b to d2. It's knight b to d2 because this knight that's on f3 could also go to d2. So to be clear about your notation, it's knight b d2. If I had a knight on here and a knight on here, then it would be knight 1 to d2 or knight 3 to d2, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that as well. That's developing as well. I'm attacking an undefended piece, so this is forcing my opponent's hand. Let's say the bishop comes there, I can still take. And then the queens face off, but if his queen takes my queen, I can recapture the rook. So I think we're okay. So what was I talking about? Yeah. Oh, baking sunshine, man. I mean, seriously, it was in the high 20s, so this is like maybe high 70s Fahrenheit, leading to yesterday it was over 30 degrees Celsius, so that's getting on for 90, which, for us pale faces is pretty scorchier. So I'm brown as a nut right now, which is great. And I should have been really, really, really tired, but there's something about the sunshine. That really, it seems to give you energy. Okay, so I've just developed my bishop to here. Why? I want to get my king safe, right? We're on move 10. I haven't finished developing. This is a hanging pawn, but I'm not too bothered, right? These pawns are now fundamentally weak. I think this was a blunder, really, not to recapture with the knight there. Here, wasn't it? Yeah. So this pawn recapture, what you have to do, the first rule of chess is nothing. Do nothing. The first thing you have to do all the time is nothing. Now, hang on. I almost just auto-castled short. However, we have an open d-file. And I like the open d-file. So I'm going to play, I'm going to play queen here. What I like about this is that it ties the room together, It's another movie quote, one of my favourite movies of all time. But it also then allows me to play knight e4, So here, I wanted to play like knight e4 and try and either dislodge his knight, dislodge his knight somehow. Right, but I couldn't play it straight away because he takes and I've just lost a piece. So queen e2 defends this square as well as defending all my stuff. So the queen's now gone here, and the interesting thing about that is that the queen was defending the knight. So now I think I'm just going to castle first, right? You don't have to rush in an attack, right? Get all your stuff lined up first. I might even play rook h to e1, right? As opposed to rook d to e1. Okay, rook e1 is just not specific enough. Now, okay, this is interesting. So I can take, but he has 1-2 defenders, right? I have 2 attackers, so it doesn't make sense. So I take, he takes, and I've given up a knight for a pawn. And then if I take his knight with my queen, I've given up a queen for a pawn, which is pointless. Now, if I was to play, for example, rook he1 now, and he takes, and I recapture with a queen, I've given up a knight for a pawn. And in fact, I better get a move on. So anyway, the point is I don't want to do that. So I'm going to play this. Yeah, just doesn't make sense. Because we end up, I take his queen, he takes back. Even if we trade rooks, I'm still down a knight for a pawn. Is the point. But now, knight here, I've got 1, 2, 3 attackers on this pawn, you see? 1, 2, 3. So now it's the boot's on the other foot. Now I can take the pawn. And now, if he takes, I've just won a pawn. Also notice that the queen is defended by this knight and this, sorry, the bishop here on d7 is defended by, hello. Okay, so the obvious move now here is knight takes f6 check, because since the queen moved away from d8, I need to move a bit quicker because I'm down to 2 minutes 51, so there's no increment here. The only piece that can recapture is now Gary the g-pawn, and that doesn't look great. Oh, okay. So you haven't even recaptured, but look. Okay, so what you have to do is, okay, first thing, I'm in check. Okay, what else? Oh, the knight is stacking my queen, right? So instead of recapturing, which is the natural move, oh no, my queen, yeah, I know, okay. So I'll tell you what, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it, right? Right, didn't take the queen. Okay, so we're going to play on. Oh no, my queen, but my queen's actually defended by bishop. So my first thought now is, so just for the sake of playing on, right, my first thought is I want to attack here with queenie, because queen can give check and cover all of the king's escape squares, therefore checkmate. Then what I need to think is, well, how can my queen get to that square? The natural route here isn't possible because the bishop is controlling g4. Where else can I go? I can go there, but that's would fall prey to queen takes queen. Okay, so what else we got? We've got bishop here, and then somehow try and get my queen onto this square. That's a thought. Well, I don't like that, and the reason I don't like that is because he's now blocked off this whole diagonal for his bishop, right? So now these squares that his bishop was controlling is no longer controlling, because I get the chance to push f4, which completely blocks the f5 pawn. Okay, we need to be aware of this. I don't want to do anything silly just because I'm talking to you. I think knight here looks like a potential move. Knight here is great. I mean, really great. That's very sexy. We're looking at some very important squares there, and hit the bishop. You know, if this hits the bishop once with a discovered attack by the rook, and then furthermore, I mean, knight could come here, straight there, yeah? I like this. So it's a good idea while your opponent is thinking, line up some potential ideas, right? Pre-cook some stuff, get it ready to, you know, finish on the flash fry. I mean, I'm actually plus 6 right now, so the simple thing to do would be to trade down. Because I've got 2 knights, and Steve's lost his knights. So trading down is the right thing to do here, just to go for the win, yeah? Trade off queens, maybe rook he1, trade off rooks. Right, he's got a lot of weaknesses now. This f5 move is another weakness, because this pawn's now defended only by pieces. General principle is to think about what is the cheapest way that I can defend everything. Right? It's ideal to have everything defended in your camp. And so if you can defend something with a pawn, that then leaves your pieces free to move around the place and cause trouble. Right? You don't want to leave like high value pieces like queens and rooks defending lowly pawns. Okay, well that's easily defended. And now what he's done is he's kind of disconnected his rooks a bit, you see. So now the only defender of this rook is the queen. Not that I'm attacking it right now, but you know, now I've got ideas. Can I somehow kind of slip my queen in here maybe and attack g7? You never know. By the way, if he takes that, okay, interesting. Right, I'm just going to trade off queens now. Not even going to think. I don't even need to work that out. I know that trading off queens, trading off bishops is good. Woody is sleeping with a pack of bread for a pillow. Okay. So now time is pressured. There's no increment here. I'm on 2 minutes 11. He's on 122. Okay. And now I'm just going to centralize my rooks. Thank you. I thought it was a good move as well. Yes, I know. Yes. Right. And make him think now. Let's burn the clock. I want to cause him problems. So let's start lining up problems. Okay, let's trade rooks. I'm going to pre-move this. I know he's going to recapture. It doesn't matter. I know nothing's vulnerable. So we're going to flag here. And now I'm going to put my knight here, right? This is an outpost. It's defended by a pawn, but the key thing is that he hasn't got any pawns that can attack it from that square, right? Because there's no d pawn, and the f pawn is already in line, so you know it can't get to f6 and attack the knight. So this is all good. 40 seconds. Tick tock. Okay, I know I can play that move. This is fine, right? 30 seconds. Okay, he's in trouble. My knight's defended by that, so this knight is free to move around the cabin. I know that this move is safe, right? This is what you need to be doing, right? He's inside his last 20 seconds now, and he's going to flag. Okay, let's trade down. This pawn recaptures. This move is safe. This move is pretty safe. He might play this, but he's on 6 seconds, so he's going to flag. All right. Okay. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Right. Let us review. So, normal, and the Scotch. Now the Scotch is interesting. I see it quite a lot at the moment because I'm playing, as black, I'm playing e4, e5, and knight out here. Knight f3, knight c6, right? So from here, the most at the beginner to intermediate level, the most common move you'll see is bishop c4, which is not the most threatening move because you're kind of eyeing up f7 with the idea of fried liver style assault at some point, maybe queen out here. So the Italian with bishop c4 is the most common at this level. The Ruy Lopez or the Spanish game is more threatening because if you play bishop out here, you're threatening to eliminate this knight, which is the only defender of this pawn, which is itself under attack. And this is more common from the king's pawn opening at the advanced and master level. But there are other moves. There's the Ponziani, c3, then preparing d4, right? Or there's the Scotch with the immediate d4, and this is what we played in the game. Now, I think pawn takes is the correct move here. And then you can often play knight takes, so it feels a bit like an open Sicilian kind of idea where you develop here, but instead of the pawn here, you've got a pawn on c5. What you don't want is to allow white to play d5, because if white gets to play d5, it comes with tempo, which means that black is going to lose time. Tempo being the Italian word for time. And so what we had here is knight there. And I pushed on, right, with an attack on the knight. So I've upped the ante. Right, now what Steve really needed to do here was to retreat the knight. And I think knight e7 was probably the best move here. But he trades, so he's immediately gone down a knight for a pawn, which is going to make life difficult. Now he comes out with this bishop idea lining up against f2. So he's got two pieces lined up against f2, and this looks like a serious threat. And it is a threat, right? He could take with a knight, attacking both queen and rook. However, what he then allows me to do is to capture on d7, and that comes with check, which means that all bets are off on white's side of the board. There's nothing he can do. He's in check. He's got to get out of check on the next move. There are only a few things. He could move the king there or there. He could capture the pawn with the queen. He could capture the pawn with the bishop. And that, I think, is it. So he captures with the bishop. And now I'm up a full piece because I've just got an extra pawn. Okay? So now I have this move I know I can block. He defends the bishop. Now, this is not bad, you know, because he has the knight here, he can recapture with the knight. And I like the idea of saying, okay, rather than lose a tempo, I'm going to defend the attacked piece. However, after I trade off, he should have taken with the knight, because these now, after doing this, he's buggered up his pawns, right? These pawns are buggered, and he's buggered too, right? Because now there are no pawns on the even-numbered columns here to defend any of these. So these pawns are now completely isolated for the duration, until very much later on when I allow him to recapture. But it's, you know, the game was finished by that point, right? So I think that was an error. So let's stop at this point, right? There's no need to go much further and have a look at what the computer thinks of the opening in particular. So you can see here he's played quite a decent game, 73.7 with one blunder. Now what do we think the blunder was? Okay, so let's go through. Bookity book the Scotch. Okay, and that's inaccurate. You see, like I said, the pawn trade was the pawn capture was the correct move to play here, and I'm already +1, which is so the computer is saying it's effectively like white has an extra pawn on the board. Okay, that's an excellent move. It's actually saying that captures. I don't think I even considered captures, which is my mistake. I should have at least thought about this, because that comes with tempo. I'm hitting this knight. Then the knight can't go there. But then the knight could have just captured, I suppose. Interesting one. So if I'd have taken, let's see what the best line is. Hang on, no. So instead of this, D takes E5 is best. Takes, he takes, Queen E2, yeah. You know, and I'm still +1. So I played this, and I'm almost +1 at this point. This is a blunder. Yeah, there you go. So he's just basically given up the knight, right? D takes E6, right? It says it's a great move. What that means is that there was only one decent move, and I found it. But it was, you know, as obvious as the nose on your face, so it doesn't really count. It doesn't make me an expert. Okay, bishop out here is okay. Oh, that's inaccurate. Queen D5. Oh, that's a nice one. Queen to here, look, hits both of these pieces. And that would have been a whole pawn better than what I played, but I didn't even think about it. And that's how you get better at chess. You've got to broaden the things that you consider. I stopped thinking. I thought, oh, you know, I might as well do this and, you know, thinking about this move, but I didn't spot the fact that I had a queen fork here. Because the knight's defending the bishop and nothing's defending the knight. So what's he going to do? Is he going to push f5 to defend? Let's have a look. What does the computer think? Ooh, that is ugly. Yeah? But yeah, white is clearly better, but it's kind of scary Mary. But in the context of the game anyway, I took there. I'm still plus 3 pawns, right? Bishop takes his best. Nice one, buddy. Bishop e3 is best, absolutely. And that's a mistake. And this, I think, is a mistake. Yeah. So bishop takes e5 is a mistake. Knight takes e5. Now I'm plus 6, you see. And we've only had 8 moves. In 8 moves, I've gone from being more or less equal, slightly better because I had the white pieces, so I, have the first mover advantage. But after 8 moves, I've almost earned myself a pawn worth of value on each move because I'm plus 6.2, according to the machine. So yeah, knight takes is far better. That's inaccurate. Again, queen d5. Queen d5 kind of just attacks everything. And yeah. Oh, and even the rook. So that would have been good. But yeah, like you can see from this point. So now, it's saying that white is now plus 5. So I'm the equivalent of 5 points in front, even though there's nothing really much going on my side of the board. But that doesn't matter. The important thing is that black's position is materially damaged. He's only got 2 minor pieces left, whereas I've got 3. Okay. He is a pawn up, but this is not a full pawn. This is a pawn that can only be defended by pieces from this point on. So is this one, so is this one, right? And even though he's technically ahead in development, because he's ready to castle, I'm not, so he's 2 moves away from connecting his rooks and completing development, doesn't matter. So, it really does show the importance of of thinking carefully about those first few moves. I've got an over-the-board match coming up again this week on Thursday evening, so looking forward to that. But yeah, do not underestimate the critical importance of those opening moves. And that doesn't mean that you should be going out memorizing loads and loads of openings. You really don't need to. The point is just work from first principles, because I was working here in an opening I don't really know. I don't know the Scotch very well. I used to play the Scotch Gambit quite a lot. Might go back to that. Might do some videos on that for you guys if you fancy going a bit deeper into that. But yeah, just think it through. Think it through from first principles. Steve, if you do that, you will grow from this 600. You'll break the 700, 800, and so on. So hope that's been useful for everybody. Nice sort of gentle return to the world of chess commentary after a few days off, much needed days off. And so thanks everyone for watching, appreciate your support. We've also hit 7,500 subscribers on Chess Bootcamp YouTube, so brilliant stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.